Hi, everyone. Welcome to our AC Summer Market event, BBQ Workshop. As you can see, we have Matt here from Meetings, and you can see the great patio view there. I'm just going to give it a few seconds as people trickle into the room. Feel free to use the chat. We do have live captioning available in English. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Zoom, just press the CC icon located along the bottom of your screen. And it's so great to see so many familiar faces. We do encourage you to turn on your cameras, just stay muted during the presentation portion of it, but it's so great to see so many familiar faces tuning in right now to this event. So just going to give it a few more seconds before starting, admitting a few last people here. So perfect. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to our BBQ Master Workshop as part of our AC Summer Market event today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Bonnie from the events team, and I'm going to be moderating the session with you. In this event, we will be hearing from Mat Flosse of Meetings on how to barbecue like a pro, and it's so fitting for the summer. And not only just how to barbecue like a pro, but how to use spice rubs and just hear about their yummy comfort food creations, because who doesn't love yummy foods and barbecuing? So thank you so much for tuning in. Before giving it over to Matt, I'm just going to be going over a few housekeeping items. Be sure to tune into our live virtual AC summer market events. There's a ton more happening this day. So if you haven't had the chance to already, I believe either now or sometime soon, the event link is going to be shared in the chat. So feel free to check out the other programming happening today. And as mentioned, there is closed captioning available in English. So you can access that just by pressing the CC icon located along the bottom of your screen. We will have the opportunity for everyone to engage with Matt after his presentation during the live Q&A. And at that time, if you're not familiar with Zoom, you can raise your virtual hand to ask the question out loud, or you can also type it in the chat and I'll help moderate that session as well. This event is being recorded and the recording will be available to watch on the AC Hub on-demand website in the coming days. And I believe at some point that link should be shared very shortly with you as well. And now I have the pleasure of introducing you to the owner of Meetings and mastermind behind all of the deliciousness, Mat Flosse. Matt's love of kitchen and entertaining began with an annual family barbecue, but eventually turned into an idea for something bigger. Matt and his friend Carol opened their first restaurant in 2017, and then a second one the following year. They worked extremely hard. They catered over 100 events in a single summer and won multiple awards. Finally, in 2020, they decided to merge both of their restaurants into one, which is now Meetings headquarters. Now, without further ado, and with the lovely backdrop that you see here, I'm going to pass it over to you, Matt.
Thank you so much, Bonnie, for having us. Thank you to Algonquin College. Super excited to be here and showcase what I've spent the last 10 years of my life doing for you guys. So, welcome to Meetings Barbecue. We're located here at 5380 Canatech Road, just off of Montreal Road, exit from the highway. Super easy to get to. You can see the highway from our patio here. It's a beautiful day. Patio. And today I'm going to show you how to smoke ribs. Not only how we smoke them, but how you can smoke them at home as well. So today I've got a rack of ribs here. It's a St. Louis side ribs. And what I need to do is just bunch them down a little bit. So as you can see, there's a lot of extra pieces here. And what we like to do is just round it off, make it nice and easy for cooking. So this is something that you guys can easily do at home too. It doesn't take a lot of chef's knowledge. I was never a chef, you know. I started this business basically cooking for friends in my dad's backyard. There was a show called Epic Mealtime, and I would watch the show every week on Tuesdays and have my friends and family over on the weekend. My dad got a new smoker, so I tried to recreate something fun, excited for them to try. After a summer of doing that, I realized, wow, people are loving the food that I was putting out. Everyone told me I had to open a restaurant, food truck, something. So I ended up selling my car, bought a pig roaster, and started the name Meetings. So 9 years later, here we are. I've been mastering the art of barbecue for all of you guys to enjoy. And if you ever want to come and enjoy some ribs, you can. But if you ever want to smoke at home, we also have our signature rub that's available for purchase. Delicious. It's got some nice brown sugar in it, some coffee, and some nice sweet spices that complement the flavor of our smoke. So we use maple wood to smoke the wood. It's locally sourced. And it gives a nice smooth profile, smoke profile to the meat. not overpowering. So as you can see, I've kind of done trimming the ribs here, giving it a nice kind of rectangular cut. So down in the States, they call this a St. Louis cut. Remove the breastbone and just give it a nice square. So what we like to do is have consistency along the back of the ribs. So if someone's ordering this side and this side, we get the same size bones. So one important thing that we do here at Meatings is remove the membrane. So a lot of people, it's hit or miss whether you do or you don't. Some people say it retains the flavor, the moisture, but for us, we really think that it gets more of the flavor penetrated into the meat. Our smoker does a good enough job to keep the meat juicy while it's rotating around during the cooking process that we don't need to add any extra moisture to the meat. So I use a simple little tool here. You can also use a butter knife. So what you want to do is find one of the big bones and just slide it right under. As you can see, I just lifted it up, and then we're just going to literally pull it back. And so after the meat is done cooked, if you leave the membrane on, it becomes really tough. It doesn't actually break down like fats and the rest of the meat too. So when you want to have a nice pull off the bone rack of ribs, that's what we like to do, is remove the membrane. So now we're ready to go. So there's a couple different things you can use before adhering your rub. Olive oil, different kinds of oils. We like to use a mustard for a few different reasons. Adds a little bit of flavor to it. There's the acidity in it also helps preserve the meat, break down some of the fats in it as well, and it also just really helps the rub stick onto the meat as well. So we want to make sure, again, using your signature rub that we use on all of our pork products, and we actually also use it on our tater tots. So very important to get a good coverage of seasoning on the ribs, especially for us. We focus on doing a dry rub and not saucing them like some other places do. So good, nice coverage. You want to do both sides as well. Make sure you get all the edges as well. I see some people when they're cooking at home, they tend to just cover it, sprinkle on the top, but you're forgetting the outer pieces of the rack of ribs, the brisket, whatever it is. And you want to make sure you're getting every piece seasoned, so that every bite that people are biting into is providing you with that wow flavor. So we're going to do the top side as well. Give it a nice covering. You don't want to give it too much so that the rub is slopping around and sliding off of the meat. And again, you really want to rub it in. It's called a rub for a reason. So really make sure that it gets into the meat during the cooking process. Gives it all that nice, beautiful flavor. And so we like to sprinkle a lot, like I said, to give it a nice bark. So because we don't cover the ribs with sauce like some people traditionally do here in Canada, so we like to just give it a nice thick covering so that you can create that beautiful bark, so that when you bite into it, you get the flavor, all the spices on the top, and then the delicious smoked meat on the inside. It's the best. Ribs are one of our biggest sellers here, been one of my favorites making. But I'll tell you, when I first smoked my first rack of ribs at my dad's house, it was terrible. I smoked them for like 8 hours. My brother and dad were laughing at me saying, no one's going to hire you. But through perseverance, trial and error, more testing, family and friends, we finally got to these amazing ribs that I'm so proud of. And we've had so many amazing compliments on them. And we almost sell it every day. So if you ever want to get a rack of ribs in your belly, make sure you pre-order on our website, meatings.ca. You order for tonight, tomorrow, the weekend, anytime. So now that we have our ribs ready to go, we're going to load them up into our smoker. So again, as I mentioned, for those of you at home who don't have a smoker, and you might just have a typical gas grill, propane grill, have a quick and easy way for you guys to smoke at home without buying the smoker. So all you have to do is go to one of your local stores. We have a great one down here, Romantic Fireplace and Barbecue, and they've got wood chips. So wood chips are very easy to use on your gas grill. What you're going to do is soak these wood chips in water for about 30 minutes so that it don't flare up. And you're going to want to put them into some kind of aluminum pan. This is one that we had at the restaurant. Super easy to find, dollar store, grocery store, wherever. So put your soaked wood chips into this aluminum pan. And we're going to put a little cover over top that I poked some holes in so that the smoke can actually come through the aluminum box. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get our gas grill ready. So I don't have one here to show you guys, but it's very easy. Typically, you have 3 or 4 burners on your grill. So what you're going to want to do is set up the heat on half of the grill. So we're going to do indirect cooking. So turn on 2 burners, and we're going to try and get the temperature to around 250 degrees. Once your temperature is at 250 degrees, you're going to take the grill grate that's on top of those burners, remove it, and put this box. Put this box right on top of the burners so that the flame and the heat is coming up and touching the actual aluminum. Close your lid back down, let the smoke build up. You'll realize in maybe honestly 5 to 10 minutes, there's gonna be smoke already coming up from these wood chips. You'll be ready to go. Then you're gonna take your rack of ribs and you're gonna put them on the other side of the grill. So that's gonna be the indirect heat side. That way, there's no charring happening underneath the ribs because you're gonna have to cook them for about 3 hours on this smoke. So this way, indirect heat, no flare-ups, smoke box on the burners with the heat, getting the smoke going in for your barbecue. And you're gonna leave them on there for about 2 to 3 hours. Some people do like to baste them with sauce or some kind of marinade, apple cider vinegar, apple juice, whatever you want. That just helps keep them nice and moist and juicy during the cooking process. And then after about 3 hours, you're gonna take them off. I like to do a field test to see if they're ready, which we'll do here with the rack of ribs that we have ready to go. All right, so here's our smoker. We've already taken out most of the racks of ribs. We've got some salsa that we have smoking right now. So as you can see, we've got a big capacity smoker, 500 pounds. But as I mentioned, it's pretty empty right now because we just put out all the ribs for lunch and wanted to make sure that I could show you guys a nice little video. Sometimes, you know, the ribs are so far in the back that it takes a little while to get there, but that just proves, you know, how much capacity we can do. And boy, oh boy, do we ever fill this thing up. It runs almost 24/7. We're smoking stuff overnight, brisket, pulled pork, beans, fan favorite. So there they are, ready to go. So these have been smoked, as I said, for 4 or 5 hours over maple wood. Maple wood gives it a nice, kind of smoother kind of smoke. So some places down in the States that I visited, Texas, Florida, they'll typically use oak and hickory, which has a really strong smoke profile. So if you're into that, you can go for those woods. But for here, you know, typically people aren't used to that heavy smoke flavor and want something nice and smooth. So there's a lot of great varieties you can get. Cherry, apple, maple, all give that nice kind of smooth, sweet profile to the smokiness of the ribs. Boom. Let's go. Go for the salsa. All right, so as you can see, we've got this beautiful bark. So these have not been sprayed. They haven't been sauced, nothing, but they still are so juicy. Thankfully to the amazing equipment that we have, the smokers here, it just can't be done at home. Even the smokers that I have at home, I can't produce the same kind of ribs that we can here. So as I was telling you, for the bend test that we do here, so we try and, you know, hit the first couple of ribs, and once you see the bark is starting to crack and pull a little bit, boom, now you know you're ready. So these ribs, typically what we're do after we pull them out of the smoke, we're going to let them rest for 20 to 30 minutes so that the moisture can come from the inside of the meat and back to the outside. So during the cooking process, because there's so much heat going to the meat, all the juices go to the inside. So it's one very important thing, no matter what kind of meat you're doing, to always let it rest after. And it varies how long to rest for how big of a piece of meat is. So if you have a small steak, you're only going to need 10, 15 minutes, but the briskets that we have, we let them rest for 4 or 5 hours. They come out of the smoker at 8 in the morning, we start serving at 11 or 12. So what I need to do right now, these ribs smell amazing. I can smell the smokiness. There's a little bit of sweetness. Like I said, there's some brown sugar in the rub, and just take one little slice off just so you can see. So little pink smoke ring in there. I'll give you a bigger cut so we can really see. See how juicy they are. Pink smoke ring, so that's from the smoke. As you can see, only on the outside, so it's called a smoke ring. So it's something that, you know, pit masters really try and achieve, so that, you know, that's where your flavor comes in, and that's just from the chemical process that happens. I'm no scientist, but I know that, you know, when the meat oxidizes, making the smoke penetration, it creates this kind of pinkness. So a lot of people think, you know, is the meat undercooked, especially with the chicken. We always have to educate our clients and guests, but that's where it comes from, and no worries about the bigness. It's exactly what you need. As you can see, these things are so juicy. And one big thing that I learned along the way is growing up, you know, I always used to think that fall off the bone was the ideal way to get your ribs. Really, when you pick up the bone and the meat falls off, that's overcooked. You want to have a little bit of pull on the bone. And this is stuff that I've learned from going down in the States, down to Texas, like I said, Florida, Tennessee, and just try to learn as much as possible from these pit masters and restaurant owners that have been doing it for years. And and try and bring this back up to Canada so that we can have some, real amazing Southern barbecue. I have to take a bite of this because it's so good. How you doing, sir? I've got some customers here salivating over these ribs. And one of my favorite parts now, something we just released 2 weeks ago, Meatings barbecue beers. So one of our 2 beers that we've launched is called Ribs. No, it doesn't taste like these ribs, but boy, oh boy, does it ever pair well with them. So I've got a glass poured here. I'm gonna take a sip. Cheers. And so we developed these beers with Broadhead, with obviously barbecue in mind, the pairing aspect of it. So when I met with the brewmaster at Broadhead, there's 3 different C's of pairing: complement, contrast, and cut. This beer, it's a lager, it has some caramel notes in it, and it really pulls out the sweetness, the brown sugar of the ribs. And once you have a bite of those ribs and you have a sip of that beer, it's a match made in heaven. Honestly, I wish you guys could have some of this right now, but you can pretty easily by either coming and hanging out on our patio and we'll serve it right to you, or take some of our retail stuff, pick up a spice bottle, pick up a bottle of beer, take it home, fill it up for yourself and enjoy. How we doing for time? Doing good? 3 minutes? All right, well, I think that's pretty much it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any questions about how to smoke these ribs at home or how to get information about where we're located, how to get our food, you can visit our website, meatings.ca. Like I said, we got all kinds of information on there. We also do catering, lots of weddings coming up. Very excited to be back at it. Corporate events, big patio at our restaurant here. We also serve our food in 2 different breweries in Ottawa. If you're in that south end, Bank and Heron area on Caladar, Overflow Brewery, amazing big tap room, live music, huge patio outside. And then if you're in the Orleans end where we first started, Taylor Creek Road, Broadhead Brewery, the guys who made our beer. Broadhead Brewery, beautiful tap room inside again, nice patio outside so you can enjoy some of our snacks at those 2 locations if you don't make it out here. But again, thanks so much. We're gonna turn it to questions. If anybody has any questions about smoking, meat, meetings, beer, you name it, I'll try and give my best answer.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Matt. It's so hard because I know that we're all dying with food envy right now.
I know. I wish I could give everybody a little sample through the phone, Maybe it'll be a couple of years when that technology comes out, but for now, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. I don't know about people in the audience, but that was my first time seeing what the inside of a smoker looks like. So I had no idea
greasy,
that's what it was. You hear the word smoker all the time. I don't know what I was picturing, but it wasn't that.
And so we have another one here. It's kind of empty now, but it's a fridge style. And so we load it up with the wood inside here. So full logs, pieces of wood that we put in, and then set the temperature and let it do its thing. And these are smokers that I invested in after a year of sleeping on the couch at our restaurant when I had to get up every 2 hours and spray the meat down. I couldn't do that for another summer, so we decided to invest in these ones that were made in the States. And honestly, it saved me a couple more hours of sleep on the weekends now. So
yeah, for sure. And Matt, we have a question here. Is there a trick? Do you know of a trick to figuring out the temperature of your barbecue? For example, if the thermometer broke for this individual?
For me, over years, it's kind of just been touching it and feeling over the grill. I've kind of got a little bit of a sense for, is this 200 or is this 400, whatever. But there's honestly, you can even just get a little oven thermometer if you want and place it inside. But that's the most consistent way to, there's so many different thermometers out there on the market, wireless thermometers. There's an amazing one called Meter, where it doesn't even need anything outside. It's just one little stick that goes into your meat and it's linked to your cell phone. And so you can monitor all the temperatures through your cell phone, which is pretty crazy. But it takes years and years to be able to use your hands for the heat. So maybe you'll get there one day. But for now, I would suggest a thermometer.
That's awesome. And if anyone in the audience has a question, feel free to raise your virtual hand or continue putting it in the chat. And Matt, I have a question for you about, for me, I am being a little selfish here. So everyone keep your questions coming. My biggest thing when barbecuing or cooking meat is the defrosting part of my meat. And I never know how long, when, it always stresses me out. I feel like I should be barbecuing more or cooking more in my oven, but it's the defrosting part. How do you guys defrost overnight? How does that kind of work? over there?
So that's one thing I would honestly not have a lot of knowledge on, because we always do fresh meat here. So that's one thing that we really pride ourselves on, because obviously at home, you got to do what you got to do. You know, there's a deal at the grocery store and you got to let up the freezer, understand. But for us, selling meat and having the name Meatings, we have to focus on fresh meat, because there is a difference when you, exactly like you said, defrost it overnight or thawed out overnight. You lose a lot of the moisture content. The texture of the actual meat changes a little bit, becomes a little bit tougher. So all the products that we use here are always fresh. We get meat delivered from local butchers 3-4 times a week, because we're going through it so much and we're smoking fresh every day. So there's a lot of cool new things that I've seen online that have, you know, a little cutting board almost where you can thaw it out on. But the best way to do it is in the fridge, the safest way, because doing it on the counter, there's potential buildup of bacteria. But if you do it in the fridge overnight and it's not a crazy huge piece of meat, you should be good to go for the next day.
No, that's awesome to hear. That's I need to investigate in this more, or I just, like, when I'm in the mood for barbecue, just show up at your location.
Just show up here. Just show up here. We'll take care of you. We'll take care of you. 10 years of experience, right? And then plus, I was never a chef. I was a university dropout, so we hired a chef to, you know, help us take it to the next level. And now we have a full team of cooks and chefs. So they helped teach me a lot along the way as well.
That's awesome. And I'm talking about smoking. Can you literally throw in like any type of meat to smoke? Can you smoke anything, any vegetables, anything your heart?
You can smoke vegetables. As you can see, we have our salsa that's in there right now, and it's pure vegetables. And then we also despite our name Meatings, we actually have an amazing vegan option that a lot of people come here for, and we sell a lot of it despite our name. So it's smoked jackfruit. So jackfruit is a big fruit that grows in Mexico, Thailand, obviously typically warmer climates. And then so we get it, we put the same seasoning as we do as the pulled pork, this guy right here, and we smoke it. And after it comes out, the texture is like meat. It's very like stringy. And so we do tacos, sandwiches, just sell on its own. And it's super popular.
That's awesome. And for me, who's never smoked before, when you say you smoke salsa, do you like prep it, like make your salsa and then like just throw it in there and let it smoke, or like what's that process like when you're making smoked salsa?
We can show you. So we blend up all the tomatoes and the jalapenos, and then this is the kind of consistency that it comes to. So this is just tomatoes and jalapenos that are in there right now, and then we'll take that and then add it into, you know, some more fresh tomatoes and all the spices and all the herbs, and then yeah, it's literally just because we have the stove going in there. It works as an oven. It's essentially an oven with a smoking feature available. So we can set the temperature just as you would as an oven. It cooks, we can bring it up to 350 degrees and bake it if we wanted to. And it just adds that extra smoke element to it. So I baked cakes on my green egg at home, and it's come out, it's risen perfectly, made the beautiful cake, and then you bite into it and it's like, wow, this little flavor bite of smoke that you're not expecting. So yeah, like you can smoke anything.
That's like, I was quite surprised when you opened the smoker and I saw that tray of salsa and I had no idea what that was. And I was like, what is going on in here? Like, I didn't even know you could throw salsa. So yeah. I was saying in the chat as well, I've learned so many new things today.
Yeah, people love the smoked salsa. Like they bite into it. It's something that you've never had before, right? It's typically, you know, your salsa just with regular fresh tomatoes. But yeah, it's has a nice touch.
And does your smoked salsa, like, is there something like you normally use it for like nachos or tacos, or like how do you use
nachos? So at the breweries that we recruit, we have them on the nachos, and then we have nachos here as well. And then we also serve chips and salsa with all of our taco combos. So if you order 2 tacos, you get a side of chips and salsa with it. Chips from Bars, a local place, Las Venturas, amazing chips. And yeah, you can get a little snack on the patio while you're having a beer. And we also sell at retail in jars. So take home a bag of chips and salsa, take it home and hang it on the couch. Do that too.
That's awesome. And if for any of our attendees who wanted to come tonight or even tomorrow for a visit, is there one dish that you could recommend right away if they wanted to visit tonight? Any suggestions?
Yeah, amazing. We actually have the first night of live music tonight, which I'm sure everybody has been feeding for. I know I have. I'm so excited to have someone here and performing live again, which is going to be great. And I just showed you guys these ribs. So you guys got to try these ribs, try this beer, hang out on the patio, watch some live music tonight. It's going to be amazing.
That's awesome, Matt. If anyone has any questions, we'll try to squeeze it in. We actually have a fun portion of the event. I don't know, Matt, if you want to kick off the trivia section.
Trivia. Okay, sounds good. So at the start, I talked about a YouTube show that really inspired me to start cooking for family and friends. If you can name that, I'm going to give you one of our spice shakers.
So throw it in the chat, everyone, if you know the answer.
YouTube show that I first started watching. It came out on Tuesdays. These guys would make crazy food, and I would try and recreate it on the weekends, inspired by these guys. I had all their t-shirts, their hats. I was a diehard fan.
And I do believe our friend Sarah got that answer correctly first. It was Epic Meals.
Epic Meals time. Epic Meals
Awesome.
time. Epic Meals
Perfect.
time. Love it. Cool. Well,
So,
we'll get her info after, and she can come pick up the spice rub from our location here. The next question would be, what type of wood do we use in our smoker? I named a couple different ones there. So what type do we use?
yep, and that was what kind of wood or what type of wood do they use to smoke?
Yeah.
Oh, and I believe Paul came in first with maple.
Nice, Paul. Congratulations, Paul. You also get a signature spice rub. And the final question, I didn't even say it today, but this is going to be random, but it's a little bit of common knowledge. How many racks of ribs do you get from one pig? Maybe not so common. Common knowledge in the industry. But think about it. Think about it. I'll explain after.
And Sarah did
come. 6-pack of beers.
And Sarah did come in with 4.
She got 4, exactly. So you have the 2 side ribs and 2 back ribs. So yes, 4 racks of ribs. Wonderful. Well,
that's awesome.
She gets a 6-pack of Meatings ribs beers. So thanks to everybody who answered so quickly and paid attention, and for who come to hang out. Really appreciate you guys. Again, thanks to Algonquin College, Olivia, Bonnie for making this all happen. Thanks to Jordan, the face behind the camera. And yeah, come and check out the patio. Like I said, live music tonight. We're open 7 days a week. Just launched brunch on Sundays now as well. And then we have a bunch of takeout stuff, retail stuff, heat at home menu items that you can bring home and heat it for yourself if you don't want to come and sit on our patio yet. But really love to see you guys. So thanks again.
Thanks, Matt. I think you've made everyone's mouth water already, and it is lunchtime. So I know everyone's food envy right now. So big thank you again for doing this session with us. Learned so much, honestly. 30 minutes goes by, but I feel like the little tips and tidbits of information I picked up was like incredible. I didn't even think I was going to think of all this knowledge.
I actually just have a fun little bonus that I just thought of. So if anybody comes in this weekend, today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, and mention that you saw this video, you get 1 free beer. 1 free beer.
Wow.
Why not, right? I want everybody to try it, so let's go.
That's awesome. So, that's awesome. So everyone, remember that, and we're quoting Matt
free
on
beer.
this.
Free beer.
And Paul, did you have your? I see, Paul. Did you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention I'm in a BBQ Ottawa Facebook group, and Matt's a member in there too. And for people who want to learn or get inspired, there's a lot of amazing amateur people around Ottawa that are constantly putting up pictures of their creations. I've gotten some great ideas and duplicated the recipes. So check out the group. They're really good. A really good group of people. No trolls in there. They don't put up with anything. So everybody is just positive. There's no negativity. I just wanted to give the group a little plug.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. And if anyone wants to share this recording with anyone, because Matt had some awesome tips, this video will be again uploaded to our AC Hub on demand website later. And as well, be sure you go and get your free beer at Meetings, because Matt has given us our word. And our friend Tim has also put all of the social accounts and websites for Meeting as well. So be sure to follow, check them out. And there's still AC Summer Market programming happening today. So be sure to check out the events calendar, and you can still register for those events. Big thank you to Matt. Thank you so much for doing this again. And I need to end this session, or I don't think we can watch you eat these ribs anymore. So thank you so much.
I was tempted too much by the smell. Sorry, but thanks again, guys. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing some of you guys soon for your free beer. Have a great day.
Awesome. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Take care.